Shalom, Israel, called Halalim La, Alahayina Wa, Wahawad La, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashai, Bahasham, Waha, Kwadash, Rakha. All praises to our power and glory and honor to Yahawah in the name Yahawashai, in the name and the Holy Spirit. I want to say Shalom to the hopeful elect, which contains you Akim and you few Akwafyum. The Most High's name is Yahweh, meaning He exists. The only begotten Son of Yahweh name is Yahawashai, which means He deliverer. Yahawashai Hamashiach only died for the Israelites, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, including the Native Americans and Israelite foreigners. We make up the 12 tribes of Israel. We are the true biblical Israelites of the Bible. Back at it again with another lesson entitled Yahawashai is coming back in an enormous fathership. Yahawashai is coming back in an enormous fathership to declare war against N.A.T.O, which is an acronym for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is a military, and the EU, which is an acronym for the European Union. Okay, in World War III, in the midst of that, Yahawashi is coming to intrude. He's coming to disrupt their war. Well, anyways, Kohalayim La Alahayina Wa Wahawad La Yabashim Yamashiach Wamalak Yahushai. So I'm gonna go to second Esdras, the prophet Esdras, and I'm going to start at second Esdras 13, verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved, it moved all the waves thereof. Because when Yahawashi returns from the spiritual realm, he's coming back with pure, unlimited power from the heavens. All right, there was a statement that Yahawashi made saying, all power is given to me in heaven and on earth, right? Verse 3, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And that man is referring to Yahawashi Hamashiach, with the thousands of heaven. That's the holy angels, all right, so-called black men in extraterrestrial bodies wearing white garments. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. Because when he's hovering in that enormous fathership, people of today's society are going to be afraid because they're seeing a fathership, and Esau has movies like Independence Day, where they try to mimic the actual chariot of Yahushua, having that gigantic fathership hovering, and basically occupying the whole entire sky. But what it is that, Esau took those thoughts from the scriptures, from the Bible. But yeah, that's what's going to happen. Yahushua is going to come in an enormous fathership, and everyone in society is going to be scared. Now, obviously, we read precept upon precept, line upon line. So I'm going to go to the book of Jude, chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord, this is referring to Yahawashi, because anytime we see the word Lord with a capital L and lowercase O-R-D, that's referring to Yahawashi, right? Cometh with 10,000s of his saints. And who are those 10,000s of his saints? The holy angels. Okay, they're coming with Yahawashi. So let's go back to 2nd Ezra 13 and 3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, the holy angels. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. Because imagine the way this society views so-called Negroes and Hispanics is they view us in a very low, you know, their perspective on seeing Israelite men is they see us as very low value. They don't have any uh, 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 respect for us right now because we're in a lower state right now. That's the reason why the Edomites are having this respect. But it's verse 4 says, and whensoever the voice, and what's that voice referencing to? The laser beam that emits out of that fathership. Okay, so and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, out of that fathership, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Verse 5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. And that's Yahawashi. That sea is Yahawashi coming out from the spiritual realm into the earthly realm. And when he comes from the spiritual realm into the earthly realm, you're going to have these heathen nations that are fighting each other. But then what's going to happen is that they're going to see Yahawashi in that fathership, and they're going to be like, let's stop attacking each other. Okay, because we're seeing this man with power and great glory coming to attack us. But let's see what's going to happen. It says, verse 6, but I beheld, and lo, he graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it, because Yahawashi is going to be, on that that chariot is unbelievably big. Okay, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. You see, the chariot was so huge that the prophet Ezra couldn't even see the geographical maps, because that chariot was so massive, man. All right. Verse 8, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they were gathered. It's like all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid and does fight. So, hey man, the European Union, NATO, okay, these Ishmaelites, these Arabs, these heathen nations are going to be terribly afraid to fight Yahawashi Mashiach. Okay, they're going to be terribly afraid to fight Yahawashi Mashiach, because what it is that there's going to be you know, destruction that's coming, laser beams that's coming, okay? And these laser beams are going to be killing people, man. Okay. Verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Alright? Because these are all elements to make that beam, I believe. Is verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. So the laser beam was touching, zapped these helicopters, these tanks, all this stuff, man. It said, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So Ezra saw the vision of Yahawashi conquering the European Union. It's already been written that Yahawashi is going to conquer the European Union and NATO and all these different military mights of this world. Okay. And even John in the Isle of Patmos had a vision of Yahawashi coming in that fathership, coming to conquer Esau. All right, this is Revelation chapter 19, and let me start at verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. And that horse is referring to a white chariot. Okay. And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. That's referring to Yahawashi. Okay. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And the name is Yahawashi, but it's just that a lot of people in society today cannot digest the true name. And what I mean by that is a lot of people in the world today don't know the name Yahawashi. It's not really as famous, but when he returns, that name is going to be very famous on earth. Okay. Verse 13, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahweh. Verse 14, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean, because the horses represent chariots, and the white linen is the epods that the angels are going to be wearing. But anyways, let me go to the point. Verse 15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. That sharp sword is the laser beam, all right, that comes out of that chariot. That with it he should smite the nations. So that laser beam is what's going to smite these nations, right? And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of almighty power. And he have on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. All right. Verse 17, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great power. Okay, because when these laser beams are slicing these people, the birds are going to eat their flesh, eat their skin, and have a feast. Okay, so this is, proof that even John saw Yahawashi coming in that ship. Okay. You got Habakkuk as well. He also saw it. Habakkuk 3:16. When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice. I believe that's the laser beam, right? Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. Because Habakkuk is back here today. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops. So Yahawashi is coming to invade with his troops, which are the angels, man. Okay? And those chariots, they're going to start shooting lasers on Esau's system. It's only a matter of time, but we also got to keep in mind that the RFID chip, one of the major prophecies, has to be activated in the sense of it being made mandatory. Okay, and the persecution, Esau's gonna be a nuisance, and call the men of the Lord terrorists and hate group and all this garbage on news articles and all this trash. But we're having faith in YAHAWASHAI, and the Edomites are going to lose this war, and we're going to end up, Lord willing, victorious in this war that we're involved in. So and also keep in mind that in as much as there's going to be martyrs inside this gospel, you're also going to have a particular individual group of men that are actually going to fight Esau's military might. Okay, so not everyone in the gospel is going to be a martyr and be beheaded. Okay, but Lord willing, we're part of that number, because there will be some brothers that will have to go through this. I don't know if it's me. I don't know who's going to go through it. But, the Lord said, be faithful unto death. All right, so this is Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, which is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, shall cast some of you into prison. So some brothers are going to be cast into prison. We don't know whose lot this is going to be. All right? It says that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So those that die in the gospel, they are guaranteed a crown of life, as it is written in red. This is YAHAWASHAI that says that. Okay, so that is something very, very important. Now also, okay, so when you read Thessalonians, it also, speaks about the martyrs and those that died in the faith being risen up first. That's in First Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. But also, what also is going to happen is you're going to have men that are going to receive that standard lifted up. This is Isaiah 59, verse 19. It says, so shall they, the Edomites, the heathens, right, fear the name of Yahweh Bahashem, YAHAWASHAI, from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy, who's our enemy? Esau, the so-called white man, shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. All right, so when he comes in like a flood, so, meditating on that, in order for someone to come in like a flood, they have to first of all know your postcode information, okay? They have to know, the specific location that you're at. And, Esau knows brother's postcodes and, door address. And he's going to come in like a flood to come after, brothers inside the faith. So when the military comes in like a flood, the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to, display spiritual powers, just like in the ancient world when the Lord used Moses, Elijah, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel. Okay, so what makes the Most High not wanting to use spiritual power in this modern day time where people, they watch movies, but they don't believe that those movies that show spiritual power is realistic. They believe it's mythical. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, key point, Yahawashi is coming to laser beam the European Union and NATO. And just keep your eyes on the prize, man, the kingdom of heaven. And Lord willing, we're part of the elect. But yeah, hope this video was edifying. See you on the next lesson. Kohaloim la, Allah Shai. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Abba.